That might be just my headphone splitter, in which case it doesn't matter. Are we, what's my level like? Is it really hot? Because I can't really tell how loud I am. Because my, sounding a lot better, I hope.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Good to know all my gear actually works.
Hello, how are you today? Good, thank you. Coming through, all good. Hello, hello. Let's see if we've got a stream.
Want me to go again? I'm really loud. Okay, cool. Let me turn the master down a little bit. Turn me down a little bit. Go, Nick.
Hello, how are you today? Coming through all good? Testing, testing. 1 2 1 2. Getting louder, louder, louder.
And now 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Round 10 here in NPL Victoria. It's the Oakleigh Cannons taking on St Albans Dynamo at Jack Edwards Reserve. My name is Josh Parrish and I've got Nick DeBano alongside me on this brisk evening in Melbourne Southeast. Nick, two sides at opposite ends of the table. Although with Oakleigh dropping a few points in recent weeks, this shapes as a must-win game for the title-chasing Cannons, while St Albans Dynamo have to be looking over their shoulder, only 7 points off last-placed Moreland City.
Yeah, good evening, Josh. Thank you for the introduction. It's a brisk is one way to put it. It's very cold. We're starting to get all too familiar with the winter conditions once again in Victoria at NPL, but this shapes up as a big game, as you mentioned, Josh. Oakleigh losing their first game here at home in almost a year against Avondale last week. That first loss before that was actually against South Melbourne, and they've lost a little bit of pace on the sides above them, and they need to keep pace with the sides above them and stay in that premiership race. But if not that, putting themselves in the best position when it comes to finals time. Well, St Albans, Josh, I mean, got to do a quick update around the grounds, but 7 points clear of Moreland City, who haven't got a point all season, but as we understand right now, we'll do a quick check beforehand, that Moreland City are actually leading against Heidelberg. So that puts even more pressure on St Albans for tonight, but we know not many teams come here to Jack Edwards Reserve and get points, so this will be fascinating to see how Oakleigh respond. But conversely for St Albans in the second game under their new interim boss, Paul Donnelly.
Absolutely. Interim head coach, as we say, Ryan McGuffey. Parting ways with the club a couple of weeks ago, so Paul Donnelly mans the dugout in the meantime, with St Albans linked with just about every head coach who's available in the state. We'll go through the team news for the Oakleigh Cannons. Stefan Valentini is the only change. He drops out of the squad entirely. In comes Assad Kasumovic, to start on the flank. Joe Guest and Manib Adis are still supporting Alex Salmon in attack, Oliver Kubalay and Noah Holmes in midfield. A back four of Emlyn Wellsmore, Brodie Boyce, Jacob Eliopoulos and Kingsley Sinclair ahead of Nick Feely in goals. Brendan White, Pierce Waring, Hamish Miller, Luke Mensink, Roy Gregory and Cam McGill. Great to see him back available for selection, a late addition to the squad. He is on the bench as a midfield option after suffering a hamstring injury against Port Melbourne 2 weeks ago. And for St Albans, well, it's an unchanged 11 from the side who went down narrowly, 1-0 against Altona Magic last week. Marco Bullich between the sticks, Nelson Tashongo, Michael Gergich, James Riccobene and Jacob Sovereign in defence. Joey Cholina, Max King and Zelfi Nazari in the middle of midfield. Ivan Razimic and Adam Hodor on the flanks, and Josh Diven playing up top. Nick Morey drops out of the squad from the bench. In comes Scott Bakor, who returns from suspension after his red card against Heidelberg, alongside the backup goalkeeper Jasko Koranovic, Alan Jerez, Brian Summerskill and Joey Monek as the changes available to Paul Donnelly on the Dynamo bench. And we have both teams playing in their away kits tonight, with Oakleigh in the white and St Albans in a rather nondescript grey. So we'll do our best with the player ID, but black on grey for the numbers. Nick, not ideal.
No, not ideal at all. I mean, it makes things quite difficult, not only for us, but those at home as well, to be able to recognise certain players out on the pitch. So apologies if there's a few miscues early whilst we get going. But no, this is, we spoke about, a really big game for both these two teams. It was a disappointing loss last week against Avondale for Oakleigh. They've dropped some points as well in recent times. I mean, you look at the game against Dandy Thunder, which was, of course, that replayed contest, and then, of course, drawing against South Melbourne here at Jack Edwards Reserve. And this is the last game, Josh, they're playing in this huge homestand they've had for about the last couple of months. So heading on the road after this, and they'll want to make sure that they leave Jack Edwards Reserve with 3 points in tow today.
Yes, Oakleigh in 5th place. If results go their way, they could leapfrog both Hume and Heidelberg into 2nd spot with a win tonight. As Alex Salmon battles for a loose ball. Nelson Tashongo cleaning up and feeding Ivan Razimic on the right, as Michael Gergich, the captain, remains down behind play. And that would be a sickener if they lose Gergich, because he's already a makeshift centre-back. No Chris Dibb for the 2nd week in a row. And they don't have a recognised central defender on the bench. Jerez and Summerskill, both attack-minded midfielders. Scott Bakor is a striker, and Joey Monek, well, he's just about Mr. Fix-It for St Albans, but I think left-back is about as far as his versatility seems to stretch. So St Albans better hope that Michael Gergich can continue here.
Well, he looks like he's all good, which is good news, especially for Dynamo, because the last thing, as you said, Josh, they need is another centre-back casualty. But no, he looks all good, just getting rehydrated, just copped a little bit of a knock off the ball. So good news for St Albans that their captain is all good and will re-enter the play when he gets the green light from the referee.
Well, Michael Gergich already wants back on into the contest, and they need him at his best tonight. They're going to come away with an unlikely result here against the Might of Oakleigh, who are so strong at home. Of course, went down against Avondale in the Community Shield match last week, which is, again, also for league points. But they're not often beaten on their own deck, Oakleigh, and they come forward here through Sinclair. Cross misses everybody, and it's picked up by Adam Hodor. Sliding challenge coming in from Salmon. Dimo will restart with the throw. Sovereign, who's probably next in line at centre-back, is lining up the left-back today. But they won't need to deploy him there. Well, Nick, this hasn't been a happy hunting ground for St Albans over the years, Jack Edwards Reserve. As far as I could tell, at least in league play, they have never won at Jack Edwards in their entire history. They have won away at Oakleigh before. The last time was back in 1992 at the old Kalula Reserve.
Oh yes, that's just up the road from here. It's a very different venue to here. It's more of a dog walkers reserve, and was actually played junior football against Oakleigh there in 2012, playing under 14s for Burundara Eagles. So definitely not like playing at here at the pristine venue that is Jack Edwards Reserve.
So, Nick, you've played at Cooloola Reserve.
Yep.
More recently that St Albans have won away at Oakleigh.
Absolutely, I have, yes.
I'll read you out some of the names from that side in a moment. It was a vintage Dynamo team. Mickey Cholina was playing that day.
Wow.
Alongside the likes of Huskin Derovic, Andrew Marth, Stabber, absolute legend, and Mark Shielich, who scored that day. So, absolutely legendary Victorian football figures in that St Albans team, who last got the job done away from home against Oakleigh. Again, they've never won at Jack Edwards. Low cross comes in, looking for Guest, and it spills out to Miniabatis. Try as he might, couldn't squirm his way past the defender.
Interestingly enough, as much as that stat is firmly in the favour of Oakleigh, Josh, it's only been 2 years since St Albans actually beat Oakleigh in a game. I mean, they won in 2022 at Churchill Reserve, which came in August of that year. It was towards the end of the season, where St Albans were looking to stay up, and Oakleigh were in the midst of all their cup duties. They had Doherty Cup, they had Australia Cup at that point, and they were playing games that felt like every 3 days at that point, and they had a mounting injury list en route to what was a very happy time in the Cannons' history, probably their apex mountain moment throughout the end of 2022. So, but the one team that does have a bit of bragging rights in that period of Oakleigh dominance is St Albans.
Here goes Joe Guest, and it's a great early save from Marko Bulic. He was fed through by Kasumovic, and Oakleigh were away in a flash on the non-preferred right boot of Joe Guest, but still he would expect more from himself in that 1v1 situation. Feeding Kasumovic, whose cross is blocked by Ricabene and behind for an Oakleigh corner. And it's all Cannons early. St Albans under siege on and off the pitch with coaching changes and injuries to key players. Norland City with a shock lead over at Olympic Village won't be welcome news. Guest's delivery is a good one. Was there a shove in the area there? Well, for a moment.
Looks like something's been awarded there, Josh.
Is this a penalty?
I think it's a handball. I saw referee point at the arm. I think it's a penalty.
Oakleigh have a spot kick.
Yeah, well, it just sort of came out of nowhere there, Josh. I mean, we heard the protest, thought it was for a push, but referee was right there, eagle-eyed at that moment, and was able to catch the arm. And here's an opportunity for the Cannons to take the lead very early in this game. And it's, got to say, reward for early effort, because they've been all over St Albans in the opening 5 or so minutes.
Well, I'll have to have another look back at that decision in a moment. The referee eagle-eyed, and he seemed absolutely certain of that one. And it's going to be Joe Guest from the spot against Marko Bulic. Guest lining up his 6th goal of the season and buries it with unerring confidence into the bottom corner. Sends Marko Bulic the wrong way. And Oakleigh have their reward for their early dominance here. 1-0 to the home side.
Easy as you like from Joe Guest, and that's just bread and butter for him. It's bread and butter for the Cannons. The early pressure pays off. We're just watching back here. Yeah, it did look like a bit of a handball there at the back post as the cross came in. It bounced. Looks like it bounced up into the arm. That was out wide. Can't really tell exactly who it was through the sea of bodies. But yeah, just as Muniabatis was about to control it, it looks like it just caught the arm. I think it may have been...
Is that Max King there? Perhaps we'll re-examine the replays.
Yeah, so this is where, as we said at the start of the broadcast, Josh, the grey on black numbers certainly don't help our cause right here. So we're going on the fly a little bit, but at least we could tell that, you know, certainly there was contact. So it was a good decision there from the referee, and Oakleigh leads. So talking about an early mountain to climb for St Albans, Josh, this is the last thing they could have you know, afforded to have, go down early and now be playing catch up for the remainder of this game.
A little flare-up between Nazari and Noah Holmes there. Referee laying down the law. So there was the appeal for the push, and the referee blew the whistle almost immediately, but for actually the subsequent handball. So 2 penalties in 1 for Oakleigh. And they've cashed in.
At the moment, they just look so scary for that St Albans defence at the moment. Every time they get forward, they look like they're going to do something. So this is a really good start here from Oakleigh.
Guess with the low delivery, and spills back out to him. Forced all the way back to his goalkeeper, Nick Feely. That might be his first touch of the evening. Been a virtual spectator up the other end.
So amazing, Josh, is seeing that a team like Oakleigh can not have 2 key players available in Connor Hampson and Stefan Valentini, and even Cam McGilp starting on the bench, but having the sheer quality of player to bring on in their place. You know, we've seen Kingsley Sinclair become a really handy fullback this season. Noah Holmes coming in midfield. This man here, Assad Kasumovic, who we haven't seen much of since he's come across to Oakleigh, but I mean, you look at the pipeline he's come through in the past, you know, being a part of the Adelaide United youth system and getting a few appearances at A-League level. He's a player certainly to keep an eye on because, you know, he had to be rated if he was going to be playing in amongst that team who, you know, have at least a recent history of promoting some absolute talents.
Another one off the Adelaide production line. Holmes, most recently of Western United. Spraying the ball out to Wellsmore. Brisbane Raw youth product. There's a lot of former A-League Academy players out there for Oakleigh. It's another Academy player, Josh Diven. He's a teammate of Noah Holmes at Western United. Gergic seizing his chance to gallivant into midfield, his more natural role. Lovely footwork from Sovereign there. Sending Joe Guest for a hot dog.
It's a good bit of interplay here from Dinamo.
Their best move of the game so far as Max King finds to Shongo. Nazari. Upended by Guest. Quickly taken free kick from Gergic, and he's gone for goal. Well, at least they've registered a shot now on the count, but never really in danger of troubling Nick Feely between the sticks.
No, absolutely not.
Only seen one player score a quickly taken free kick from that sort of range. I think it was Steve Hewitt back in 2020 at Knight Stadium. Although, that was near the halfway line, but Knight Stadium is a fair bigger pitch than this, so...
The racing track that is Jack Edwards Reserve, where things just... It's a lot quicker. You have to play a lot more fast-paced, Josh. As you know, like this pitch is what makes Oakleigh so good is the way they're able to transition on it. And if you're rapid on this pitch, it just creates so many extra headaches for the opposition.
Sinclair looking for Guest in the channel. It's a lovely first touch. And he leaves Michael Gergic for dead, but the cutback doesn't match the dribble. No challenge from Tashongo. Josh Diven not across in time to contest. Eliopoulos. Sinclair back to Boyce. Oakleigh regain their composure after, for a moment, the Dinamo might break. Wellsmore. Kasumovic jinks his way past Sovereign and feeds a lovely ball through, and it won't count. Alex Salmon denied anyway.
See already the frustration boiling over from those St Albans players calling for Salmon to be carded there. I mean, technically he should get a yellow card for playing on it.
I think it was a tame shot.
But that's semantics though, Josh. I think it would have been quite stiff to give him a yellow card there on that occasion. I mean, we're going pure rule book, pure to the absolute dot, and crossing every T and dotting every I with that one.
Would have been over officious for sure. But, thankfully, sanity prevails, and Alex Salmon stays out of the book for, I would say, rolling the ball back to Marco Bullitt pretty tamely. Wasn't as if he booted it over the fence.
No, wasn't. Robin Van. Was it Robin Van Persie once at
camp
where he got sent off and he blamed that he couldn't hear the whistle because it was so loud?
I don't think you'd get away with that excuse tonight. Tashongo trying to hold off Minibadis and thought he was fouled. Instead, he's coughed up another corner. And we know what happened last time. Oakleigh swung a ball into the box from this sort of situation. Keep your hands to yourselves, boys. It's going to be Guest to deliver. Near post, looking for Bakor. Instead, it comes out to Kublai, who strikes. Blocked en route. And then another shout for handball. Well, it definitely hit the arm, but referee says natural position, unintentional.
Jeez, that was a nervous moment again there for that St. Albans defence.
It was deja vu. I saw the black cat twice, Dinamo. Oh, Mazzari getting his body in the way. Referee plays advantage. I think Dinamo would like the free kick, please. Instead, Sovereign puts it out of play.
Very strong challenge there, and a yellow card awarded as well there to Kasumovic. It's been a better response from St. Albans since the goal. They've been able to create a little bit of, they're actually getting their foot on the ball, but haven't really been able to put the Oakleigh defence under any pressure. But still, it's when Oakleigh are able to break, that's always the danger when you play them. You can have as much of the ball as you want or create in those half areas, but if you can't defend in transition against the Cannons, you're dead meat. And so far, it's looking more likely the Cannons are going to be able to get that second. But to be fair, St. Albans do look just that touch, a little bit more comfortable than maybe what they did about 10 or so minutes ago.
Going to have a lengthier injury stoppage this time. It looks like Nazari being tended to. No change imminent from the Dinamo bench. They do have more natural replacements in central midfield. Ryan Summerskill in reserve.
It's an interesting one he's not starting this game. He's been so good for them, especially from a goal-scoring perspective. He's got 3 goals now this season. 3 of those goals coming in their 2 wins this season as well. So just going around the grounds here, Josh Morgan said he actually still ahead at half-time 1-0. Payakuno with the goal in that game at Olympic Village. Down at Frank Holohan Reserve, South Melbourne, 2-0 up against Dandy City. And looking the goods to continue their unbeaten start, of course, for Oakleigh fans who are just keeping an eye on things. And there's many of those sides above them to start dropping points if they're going to make some inroads. So good and bad news for Cannons fans, but definitely bad news for those of St. Albans being down, but also getting the news to see that Moreland City are ahead.
Yeah, that's a turn up for the books that we didn't expect. The Payakuno with the goal. Made it to half-time with the lead intact, and after the sorry state they were in last week as they went down pretty convincingly to Manningham, that has got to be a huge boost to the confidence. Joe Guest with the first-time layoff, and it skews off target straight to Marco Bulic.
Question I have for you, Josh, is this the best we've seen of Alex Salmon here in Victoria? Because, he hasn't scored just yet, but he's got 6 goals, and he technically, he scored more than 6. Of course, some of them haven't counted because of the situation around 2 abandoned fixtures, but he's just been absolutely unbelievable to start this season.
It's been turned over by Noah Holmes. Chance now for Dinamo to make something happen. Hodor was crowded out by 2 defenders and couldn't find a teammate. Wellsmore. Looking for Salmon but couldn't find him. Hodor. Sovereign. Joe Guest gets there first. He's such a ferocious presser of the ball. What a luxury to have a player of that quality, but also of that work rate in the number 10 position. Holmes. Finding Salmon. Salmon out to Kasumovic. First time, it's a quick touch and switches out to Nibadis. But he can't control it and keep it away from Nelson Tashongo, and coughs up the free kick as well. There's a little bit of a physical duel going on between those two early.
Yeah, good little battle on that far side between Adis and Tashongo. One to keep an eye on as this game goes on.
Well, you mentioned Salmon, Nick. Just an outstanding goal-scoring record his entire time in the country. The low delivery is repelled by Eliopoulos.
Particularly seems, though, in this second season at Oakleigh now, since he made the move from Green Gully, that he's really starting to find his feet, and he looks really, really solid and really dynamic.
And he drops off the front line to combine so effectively as he's just done there. That one runs out on Emlyn Wellsmore. A little bit too much pepper on it from Brodie Boyce. And even starting in WA, 46 goals in 46 games for Inglewood. Perfect goal a game. 41 in 57 for Green Gully. And he's absolutely racked up the goals since he's arrived at Oakleigh, especially this season. Here is Salmon on the spin, and he fires over this time, but an early sighter from the man from Carlisle.
So the question is, how can St Albans get back into this game? 20 minutes played here at Jack Edwards Reserve. Only down a goal, but haven't really put this Oakleigh defence under too much pressure as they make their way out of the back here through Nazarene. Ball fed short, and a foul there from Noah Holmes. Just making the St Albans player a second late there. Noah Holmes in his second successive start now for the Cannons since coming into the lineup for Cam McGill. Mentioned a bit earlier, Josh, coming across from Western United's youth team, was part of that side that achieved promotion to VPL 1, or then known as NPL 2, in that playoff against GV Suns. He was very close to making his senior A-League debut, a couple of appearances on the bench in the Australia Cup. He's had to bide his time waiting for his opportunity here at the Cannons this season, but so far so good. But gonna have to defend this set piece. Bene floats it in, looking for Gergic, but Nick Feely with a bit of a chest mark in the end there, coming out of his line to collect, and he gets play moving quickly. Kasumovic, Salmon, well defended by Tashongo to put Salmon under all sorts of pressure, and he wins the throw-in, coming all the way across from right back all the way to the left side. I mean, that's going to look like a bit of an anomaly on the heat map at the end of the game, but solid start to this game from Nelson Tashongo.
He's the perfect player to leave back on halfway when you're taking a set piece, isn't he? Because he's so good in the tackle, runs like a Duracell bunny, got a great burst of acceleration, and he just sticks to his task. He did so there.
He's come across to St Albans this season from North Geelong Warriors, where he spent last year, a part of that side that were relegated down to VPL 1. Here's Salmon, feeds Joe Guest. He's in some space on the edge of the area. His shot's blocked, and Bulich keep this one alive? He can, and, well, in the end, he just saves a corner. It's out for a throw-in, so probably a better result there for St Albans.
Yeah, good result when you're playing against Oakleigh. Not so good a result if you're playing against South Melbourne.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, a bit of a rock in a hard place there if you're Marco Bulich coming up against Hellas. Strong challenge from Gergic. Ricochets back to Ricobene. St Albans looking to break back the other way through Sovereign. Floated ball towards Adam Hodor. Just skips ahead of him, and Brodie Boyce gets across and ushers that ball out for a goal kick. And Brodie Boyce, Josh, second season now at Oakleigh. One of the really in that top echelon of young defenders, or just centre-backs in general in NPL Victoria, but continues to show his quality. And I feel like this season he's gone from strength to strength.
Yeah, Brodie Boyce just so comfortable in every facet. Guest feeds one over the top, looking for Kasumovic, but Bulich is all over it.
I mean, him and Emlyn Wellsmore are kind of the two young defenders, if there's any. You know, I mean, that we don't want to be trumpeting losing players from NPL Victoria, but obviously if the opportunity does come up for these players to test themselves at an even higher level, they're two players that I think are certainly good enough to make the hashtag leap to A-League football. I mean, Emlyn Wellsmore being a New Zealander and a new New Zealander team coming in, Josh. I mean, if you are Auckland, if you're watching along, Steve Coker, good day to you. But you know, if you're looking to bolster your squad for next season, I mean, you can certainly do worse. They're two very talented players to come in who could actually do a job at a much higher level.
I agree, and especially Wellsmore. I mean, you think of a player, filling out your list in an A-League squad. You want versatility. You want to have a player on the bench who can basically play anywhere across the midfield or defence, and Emlyn Wellsmore can do that. Either fullback, central midfield, no problem. On the wing, he can play centre back if you asked him to.
The great danger with Wellsmore is how good he is when he's able to cut inside, especially. I mean, it's almost that set play where he just cuts in and gets so much space. And it's amazing that teams haven't really telegraphed it yet, because he's scored 2 great goals already this season. We are counting, of course, technically that goal against Altona Magic where, he cut in on that right-hand side over there and he scored a beautiful goal. He's got that ability to get forward and really be damaging when he's able to get on that left.
Absolutely. And that game, of course, if you're not across it, abandoned due to the later head injury to Aaron O'Driscoll, who we're delighted to see back playing and back in some good form for Altona Magic. I believe he made the team of the week last week in their win over Dinamo. This is Munib Adis. He's got space to shoot. Adis flashes one high and wide. Well, he's still dialing in his end product. I remember the first game of the season here against Manningham. He looked like an absolute world beater. Just the 1 goal for him so far this season, but his quality is absolutely tantalising. Munib Adis, really exciting, powerful, and rapid player with bags of talent.
I feel like Bentley Greens were in a way, the team on the short end of the stick in that, the mid-season window, in the sense that you only get about 6 or 7 games, because they signed Munib Adis in that mid-season window and we barely got to see much of him last year. But this off-season, Josh, it looks like he's put on size. He looks a lot more rapid. He looks a lot more dangerous. There's a reason why he was on the books of the Jets and Melbourne City. There's a player there, and we're starting to see more of it. But if he can start converting and being a little bit better with his final product, tell you what, the sky's the limit for this player.
He's got an extended run in the Oakleigh first team, which not an easy team to break into. This is Emlyn Wellsmore cutting inside onto his left, as he loves to do. Checks back to his right. Wellsmore! Just wide of the mark. Emlyn Wellsmore sending defenders this way and that, and almost scoring a spectacular slaloming solo goal.
What did we say about talking things into existence? Cutting inside. We thought he was going to go on the left, but he shows he can do it on his right as well. But that was so unlucky. Really good play again there from Wellsmore.
James Ricabene thought he was using his left as well. He hurled himself through the air and was sent to the hot dog stand. Or should I say Savlaki stand, given we're at Oakleigh. What a handball. Well, they're flirting with a lot of handballs tonight. That was Joey Cholina. Sovereign, Hodel, Nazari. A little hemmed in here, Dinamo. Do cough up possession. Oh, still waiting a decision from the assistant referee, and they've awarded it to the defensive team. So I think Dinamo may be getting away with one there.
Yeah, assistant referee Terry Costandellos just taking his time there with that one, and
I think if in doubt, give it to the defensive team is usually the rule of thumb.
Yeah, just to play it safe. So I think that referee Pascalis Nitas couldn't tell either, and from his vantage point in the middle. Oh, jeez. Yeah, we've been singing Emlyn Wellsmore's praises, but he'll certainly want that one back. You know, it's good to see referees cracking down the foul throw, because sometimes there are some blatant foul throws that just go by the wayside. Not even in NPL, even at a higher level. I think I was watching the Champions League yesterday, and there was a blatant foul throw, and I'm like, the footy's up, you know? But just, they let it play.
Don't often see that. Well, maybe there's a missing tool in Emlyn Wellsmore's fullback skill set.
Ricabene over the top. Boyce nods it clear. Nazari. Next King closed down by Holmes and wins the free kick there. Holmes, that foul on King. 29 minutes played here at Jack Edwards Reserve. Joe Guest penalties separating the two sides. His 6th goal of the season, 12 between him and Alex Salmon. Two players certainly putting up a little bit of a challenge in that Golden Boot race. Of course, Harry Sawyer leading the way at the moment. Here's Holmes, pouncing on the turnover, but Gergic got there and telegraphed that well. Nazari, Hodor, forward to King. It's just eludes his man Cholina. And Eliopoulos is there to mop it up.
Well, Oakleigh have been impressive. They've got their lead. I don't feel as if they really got out of second gear tonight just yet.
No, it feels like in this last little bit they've been kind of coasting a little bit. I don't know if that has a very negative connotation to it, but it does feel like they're just comfortable.
Yeah, and they can't afford to be comfortable sitting where they are on the table. You know, 5th, they're in a great position and not far off the top, but with the quality of players they've got, you know, Chris Taylor won't be content with just finals football.
Of course, Oakleigh back in action on Monday night in the Doherty Cup against Westvale on the road, so game to keep an eye on for them as Kasumovic cuts inside, plays it centrally, plays the 1-2 with Salmon, but it just eludes Kasumovic. He keeps it alive, but he's given away the foul. Selfie Nazari does well. Kasumovic just giving away that foul there, and it was a fair decision in the end there from referee Pascalis Nitas.
Quite surprised that Salmon didn't at least investigate the possibility of a shot there. It's just inside the box, pretty central position. The defender was a step or two off him. Usually you see Alex Salmon thump that first time. Maybe he's trying to get Kasumovic a goal. He hasn't scored for Oakleigh just yet.
No, he hasn't. Of course, as we just alluded to, that be interesting to see how Oakleigh manage their squad. Kasumovic, we haven't seen much of in Oakleigh colours, whether he goes the whole way with that game against Westvale coming up. Of course, no Valentini and Hampson today as well. Kubalay cuts inside, looking to play through Adis. It comes out towards the back. Guest flicks it over the top, but Bullich is there to collect. Does well to avert the danger, but we know Chris Taylor doesn't rotate too much, Josh, so even if they are coming off quite a short turnaround for that game against Westvale, you can expect that this 11 or this group of players, a lot of them will be featuring again on Monday night as chance now for St Albans to break back the other way. Good challenge there from Kingsley Sinclair. Nazari.
I think in the very early rounds, he might be tempted to throw some of the younger boys in. Look at someone like a Luke Mensick or a Roy Gregory, who've both got 6 goals for the under-23s so far this season. Do you remember, you know, some of Oakleigh's stacked bench getting their chance in the early rounds of the Cup when they went on that big run, the likes of Nick Niagorian and Chris Lucas getting just hatfuls of goals in the early rounds.
Well, Nick Niagorian famously scored, was it a double here against, I think it was Brisbane City in the national stages. So, you know, I mean, their opportunity will come to the likes of your Pierce Warings and even your Kasumovic's and your Roy Gregory's. Hopefully we'll see more of them as well. Kasumovic cuts inside to work his way through 2 St Albans jerseys, and he comes back up with possession. Kubalay feeds it out to the left. Inside there is Sinclair, and shots blocked. Sorry, it was actually Alex Salmon. Drifted out to that left-hand side. Sinclair there closing down on St Albans jerseys. Eliopoulos wins it. Noah Holmes helps it on its way. Nazari.
Maybe Alex Salmon a little impatient that time after being so unselfish. And
maybe overheard what we were saying a little bit earlier, Josh, about needing to maybe shoot on sight a little bit when he had that opportunity before. But mentioned that comfort that Oakleigh have at the moment. Eliopoulos under some pressure there, but did well. But it does feel like they still just are in second gear. They are.
one looking for salmon, and the flag is up. We have been informed that there's no scoreboard on the live stream, so while that's sorted out in the studio, we'll continue to provide you with the updates. Oakleigh Cannons 1, St Albans Saints 0. 34 minutes played here at Jack Edwards Reserve. Gergic. Holmes. Guest couldn't get there. Gergic sticking one out towards Diven. Headed down by Nazari for King. Dynamo trying to play their way out. Oh, and that's a loose one. And Max King lost his footing. And away gallops Noah Holmes. He rather telegraphed that pass and easily intercepted by Michael Gergic. It's a counter on a counter as Dynamo come the other way, but it doesn't stick with Adam Hodor. Kubalay.
Sense a little bit of frustration from those St Albans players there, Josh. Apologies if you're getting that one through on the effects mic.
Adam Hodor not best pleased with the service. Meanwhile, Manibatis going 1v1 against Tashongo again. And Tashongo staying with him every step of the way. That's really impressive 1v1 defending again from Nelson Tashongo, who's still shielding the ball in that far corner, and he wins a free kick too.
So just getting an update from around the grounds. Heidelberg have equalised against Moreland City, so parity, I guess, restored at Olympic Village. And over at Frank Holohan, it is South Melbourne up 3-0 against Andy City. Harry Sawyer with a double, Ross Archibald with one. So I think Sawyer's now up to double digits. I think that's up to 10 goals now this season, if my math's correct. Might actually be more.
Double check the facts and figures for you, but Harry Sawyer, he's scoring, and he's scoring a lot. Razumich. Nazari, Gergic. Oakleigh forcing Dynamo backwards. Sovereign. Nazari. All the way back to the goalkeeper. Just feel they're not getting anywhere. Gergic tries the long one. It's picked off by Noah Holmes, but only momentarily as Joey Cholina pings the pass out to Jacob Sovereign, and far too hot to handle for the left back. 37 minutes gone at Jack Edwards. 1-0 to the Oakleigh Cannons. An 8th minute penalty from Joe Guest is all that separates these two sides at the moment. After a handball from a corner kick. It's been pretty much one-way traffic. No Dynamo chances of note.
Well, we've just gotten word as well. Heidelberg are now leading against Moreland City.
Parity lasted only moments over at Olympic Village. And that won't be welcome news. That will be welcome news, sorry, for Dynamo, who see their relegation rivals go behind.
A little bit of an interesting quirk on Football 24 and Flash Score at the moment for following on as well. A bit of a blast from the past, but can rest assured I've done my research that it is a mistake that's coming up at the moment.
We've got Harry Noon listed as goal scorer for Heidelberg. Unfortunately, he plays for Clifton Hill these days. Guest in swinger. Off the head of Gergic and almost in for an own goal. Oh, Marko Bulic was backpedaling in a hurry there, and it's a spectacular save.
Keep an eye on that Oakleigh set piece. Josh, they want to take that very quickly, and Terry Costandalis was just saying to the St Albans player just to ease off a little bit. Look for a second that Guest and Salmon were ready to get that play moving quickly.
In swinger beaten away by the fists of Bulic. Guest whips one in low, but it's easily dealt with. And away comes Josh Diven. Diven looks for a teammate and won't find one. Boyce for Wellsmore. Ricabene brings it down. Dinamo, after they were under siege early, have had quite a bit of possession, but it always looks a little panicked and they can't really get field position. Oakleigh more than happy to let them have it and try and press them into mistakes as Ada swings it in for Alex Salmon, who tried the little side foot, but it was blocked en route. Ooh, Adam Hodor just about got there. A toe to it. It's hooked into a channel for Diven to chase. Brody Boyce will buy the throw in.
It's quite incredible for all of Oakleigh's dominance and comfort in this game. It's still only 1-0. Like, for all the good work they're doing and, you know, being able to exercise control of this, St. Albans are still well and truly in this contest, even if they haven't really tested this Oakleigh defence too much.
Well, Nick, I believe we've got our scoreboard graphics back.
Fantastic. Apologies for those watching on. And we didn't have one on a little bit earlier and weren't across it, but thank God that's all fixed.
Just 5 minutes left in this first half, plus stoppage. We'll have a little bit of stoppage with a couple of injuries. Elfie Nazari and Michael Gergic both temporarily going down for Dinamo. Oh, lovely spin from Adis, but it's picked off. Now Gergic. Fed through the lines very purposefully here, and Josh Diven lines one up, and it's beaten away by Nick Feely, his first save of note. Away come Oakleigh. Alex Salmon won't get there. Well, Dinamo went, and they went quickly, and they had a glorious chance through Josh Diven, who drove the ball hard and low, but a little too close to Nick Feely.
Very nervous moment for that Oakleigh defence. I mean, haven't really been tested too much, but can't afford to give Diven that sort of space. I mean, it's a good low drive effort there on goal, but Nick Feely, I mean, just expertly batting that one away. So St. Albans showing what they can do when they get forward. It's been few and far between, but Oakleigh cannot afford to even give them a slight opening in this game. Aliopoulos feeds it out to Sinclair. Lofted ball looking for Guest. Nazari does well. Tashongo skips around Munibatis, and I've got to say, Josh, Nelson Tashongo is having a game so far, and he feeds it out wide to Razimic getting forward. Ball whipped in towards the back post. Hodor got ahead to it, but it's gone over his head in the end, and a strong challenge there on Kasumovic, and he goes to ground, and it'll be a free kick there to Oakleigh. So apologise there to Ivan Razimic, that cross, but Oakleigh do well to repel there as we close in on half-time with them still in the lead. It's a better patch here from St. Albans, but still behind on the scoreboard. But perhaps only being down by a goal going into the break, they certainly would take it. Feely sends it long. There's tennis there between Gergic and Kubalay, and Gergic sends it forward. It's turned over. King. Hodor. King, quick feet. Just kept it alive, but his pass goes all the way through there to Nick Feely. Just happy to sit off a little bit and just take the sting out of this first half a little bit after Dinamo were able to put them under a little bit of pressure. Brody Boyce again forced to retreat. This is a really good defensive setup here from Paul Donnelly's side. Been able to close down those channels, not allowing the likes of Guest or even Rooney Bates to come and get it. You can see Adis being forced to drop quite deep to try and receive it, instead of playing on the shoulder, which he does so well. St. Albans seems like in a way in these last few minutes, Josh, starting to frustrate Oakleigh a little bit. Or maybe not. Salmon wins it back for Kasumovic. Strong challenge there from Rico Bennett. Sends it forward. Hodor, good first touch and plays it centrally. And now a chance for Cholina to break forward. Players left and right to him. He goes to the right. Razmic whips it in. Not a bad boy. Divin! And just like that, St. Albans are level. A really good passage from the visitors for the last 5 minutes or so. And Josh Divin brings the scores level on the brink of half-time.
Well, the Oakleigh Cannons have been sleepwalking towards the break, and they're punished. Dinamo have barely had a sniff for the first 40 minutes of this game. And then Josh Divin suddenly on the end of two glorious chances. The first, a sider, which is beaten away by Feely. The second, well, that ball is overhit into the corner, and it takes every ounce of Ivan Razimic's considerable acceleration to find it and get onto it and keep that attack alive. And then Josh Divin, on the end of admittedly a brilliant Razimic cross, is allowed a free header at the edge of the 6-yard box, and it squirms through Nick Feely and in for the equaliser. That is the last thing we expected on the balance of play in this first half.
That cross was absolutely sizzled into the area from Razimic, and all Divin had to do was just get some contact on it and put it on target. Not much Nick, even though it went technically straight at him, it's still very hard to stop at that speed. And a keeper as experienced and as good as Nick Feely couldn't do much about it, but Josh Divin with the goal. He's first as well for St. Albans since coming across from Western United. And I've got to say, Josh, considering how they were playing for that 5-minute patch or so, I mean, it's probably deserved goal in the end for St. Albans, which for most of this half, they hadn't been at the races at all. But Oakleigh, I guess you summed it up best. It just felt like they were sleepwalking into half-time, quite comfortable with that 1-0 lead, and they've been made to pay going into half-time.
Uncharacteristically sloppy defending, I would say, from Oakleigh, and St. Albans have risen to the occasion. You could have forgiven them for just trying to slog the rest of the half out and get into the break and regroup at 1-0 down. But they saw their opportunity and they seized it. Now there's an injury concern for Nelson Tashongo, a player they can ill afford to lose. He has been absolutely outstanding. I would say St. Albans' best player by the length of the Flemington Straight. Well, an awkward clearance. They do clean up the loose ball there. Nelson Tashongo is really, really limping. He's looking very proppy, and surely Dinamo will have to make a change, which is an absolute sickener for Paul Donnelly and co. Meanwhile, Guest fizzes it in, and Kasumovic at the back stick is just beaten by the bounce there. Caught it on the upswing and balloons it over the crossbar. And Oakleigh could easily have been ahead.
Great chance there for Kasumovic, but it was always going to be difficult for him flying in at the back post to be able to get clean contact. But not only clean contact, be able to steer that one on target as well. But just still goes to show that despite St. Albans having a little bit of momentum, that Oakleigh, still have so much danger going forward. But it does look like Nelson Tashongo is going to be forced off here, and Joseph Monek coming on for him. So this is a hammer blow, absolute hammer blow for St. Albans. And just taking a look at him, as you can see on screen, as he walks behind Marko Buic's goal, he's walking very, very gingerly on that far side. And Mooney Batis, who has had it really his own way, or hasn't had it his own way, at all in this first half. I mean, it's such a big loss for St. Albans considering what he was providing from a defensive standpoint, but on those limited chances as well when he was getting forward with the speed that he does have.
It's a massive defensive reshuffle, as you mentioned. Sovereign to centre-back, Gergic to right-back. So they can get Monek, the left footer, on at left-back, rather than having to invert a defender.
It's going to be a real tall task for Michael Gergic going against the speed of Mooney Batis in the second half.
Well, that's all we've got time for in the first half, and this game got very, very interesting in the last 5 minutes of play. Oakleigh Cannons were cruising 1-0 up from the 8th minute, a Joe Guest penalty after a handball in the box from an Oakleigh set piece. But they failed to make their dominance count. And Dynamo came storming back in the final few minutes of that half. Josh Diven with his second goal for the club. A bullet header from close range that Nick Feely, try as he might, couldn't keep out of the back of the net. That injury on the stroke of half-time is a real sickener. Nelson Tushongo, who was absolutely outstanding, held his own against one of the quickest players in this league in Manib Adis, and then some. And he turns an ankle and goes off early. So another hill to climb for Dynamo. They are level, though, at Jack Edwards, a venue they've never won a league game at in their entire history. We'll take a short break here on the NPL Victoria live stream. The halftime score, Oakleigh Cannons 1, St Albans Dynamo 1.
NPL men's round 2 Victoria clash between round 10 Victoria clash between Oakleigh Cannons and St Albans. The Cannons took the lead through Joe Guest, but a late goal before the break from Josh Diven has the scores all level, and St Albans 45 minutes away from potentially getting a huge point away at the Cannons. Nick Tabano and Josh Parrish here to take you through all the action here at Jack Edwards Reserve. Josh, it was seeming like we were going into the break with Oakleigh comfortably 1-0 ahead, but it seems like, as a word that I'll use a word that you used, they were sleepwalking their way into the break, and then St Albans were able to make them pay with that goal through Diven. But it's all to play for here in this second half.
Yeah, and St Albans won't just be buoyed by their equaliser. They'll be excited to see the score over at Olympic Village, where Heidelberg United have netted what looks to be a 90th minute winner. They were a goal down to Moreland City. Went 2-1 up. Moreland City equalised, and now Heidelberg have the lead once again. So major implications for the relegation battle. Looks like it's going to be Moreland City's 10th defeat in a row. And even if the result goes against Dynamo tonight, they'll still be 7 points clear of the relegation spot.
Well, if this result stays, Josh, they'll be, at the moment, 8 points, and they could potentially be on here. It's a chance for Razumic! That is brilliant from Ivan Razumic! And St Albans have taken the lead at Jack Edwards Reserve. Ivan Razumic take a bow, lofting it over Nick Feely. And the Cannons have been jumped to start the second half.
Unbelievable. What a finish. Ivan Razumic with a bit of magic. Nick Feely can only watch it float over his head helplessly. Rarely do you ever see a chipped finish go in the top corner. But that's what Ivan Razumic just did. Fed through by Joey Cholina. Dynamo hit the front, and they could be on for their first win at Jack Edwards Reserve ever.
Ever.
Let that one sink in. They haven't won away at Oakleigh since 1992. They have the lead early in the second half. Ivan Razumic, absolutely incredible.
Well, there's still plenty of football to be played here in this second half, Josh, but if that is what it's going to take to jolt the Cannons into life, as they break here through Kasumovic down this right-hand side, gets to work, gets himself in a crossing position, lofts it towards Adis, it just eludes him. Getting back, here's Razumic, and the ball is put out for a throw, but we were talking about at one point, it looked like they were only going to be 7, maybe even only 4 points clear when Moreland City were leading. But if this result stays and Heidelberg hold on to their lead, Josh, they could be 10 points clear of the drop, which would be massive for St Albans in their hopes of surviving this season. You know, it's not even the halfway point of this season yet, but God, it would be massive as Kubalay is very late in that challenge on Zalfi Nazari, and he gets a yellow card. Michael Gergic not happy with that. And Oliver Kubalay living very dangerously, leaving his studs up just a little bit. And not the first time Zalfi Nazari has been in the wars today.
Dearie me. Oakleigh, the panic stations now. They are definitely alarm bells ringing here at Jack Edwards, and Oliver Kubalay responds with a very frustrated challenge, and he might be lucky to stay on the park there.
A very, very strong challenge there from Ollie Kubalay, and potentially it's very rare that we see Oakleigh on their home deck rattled, and it just seems in these early bits they've just been jumped. And St Albans, from nowhere, in the lead. This result stays, they will go as high as 9th on the ladder, 1 point clear of Manningham, 2 points ahead of Dandy Thunder, and 2 points clear of Green Gully, 3 points clear of Altona, and of course, in that all-important battle to survive, 10 points clear of Moreland City. Even though, yes, we're not at the halfway point yet, Josh, when you see that Moreland City is still without a point in their opening 10 games, 10 points. I mean, it's every point is worth its weight in gold in this relegation battle. And with only one team going down, I mean, it obviously works a little bit better for those sides looking to survive this year. But still, a little bit less pressure for Dynamo going into the weeks ahead.
Just having another look at that challenge. I think yellow is probably the right call, but if his foot is any higher, I think Ollie Kubalay is walking. That's a straight leg challenge, and he's managed to lower it at the last moment and just make it on the ankle or the foot rather than, you know, midway up the shin. Which he would be walking if that were the case.
Well, I'll tell you what, Josh, I mean, if you're Paul Donnelly at the moment, who has stepped in as the interim coach, he was Ryan McGuffey's assistant, he gets a win today against Oakleigh. I mean, we've been talking, there's been a lot of conjecture about who's going to be the replacement. There's been a lot of names floated. He'll be putting himself in with a chance as Gergic had the arm up and he collects Mooney Batis, and that's going to be a free kick on this near side. And a yellow card awarded there to the Dinamo captain. Busy few minutes for referee Pascalis Nitas. And a few plays now in the book for both teams.
Yeah, the armbar from Michael Gergic. His second yellow card of the season. And Dinamo have to be disciplined here. Oakleigh are so good off dead balls. They've already forced one penalty from a dead ball situation this evening. Guests, the low delivery. Doesn't beat the first man this time. Razumich contesting. He's got Diven down the line. A little too heavy for Diven as Brody Boyce is retreating and covers. Holmes. Couldn't get there. Nazari. Boyce with the interception, and then Monek sliding in, and that will go down as one on target for Dinamo. However inadvertent it was. Joey Monek, just for a moment there, just for a moment you wondered. Surely not. Brody Boyce. Spotting Alex Salmon. That's a great ball. Salmon brings it down and carves out space for the shot. And it's well off target from Alex Salmon. This place rises in expectation every time he's in shooting range.
He's such a dangerous player, Alex Salmon. Whenever he's in and around goal, and he's able to create that extra little bit of space for himself. And as much as it's been really good for St. Albans, and it seems like that everything they touch at the moment is turning to gold, they have to be so wary of what Oakleigh can still possess. They can score goals and score goals quickly, particularly at home.
They sure can.
You just wonder, Josh, I mean, how long till we see potentially a change for Oakleigh? They've got, I mean, two names that definitely leap off the team sheet are Pierce Waring and Cam McGilp. If Chris Taylor looks to, you know, get a little bit of extra firepower up front or maybe a bit more control in the middle.
This is Max King for Dinamo. Maybe a Pierce Waring would be the obvious one to introduce. No Steph Valentini tonight. A little short of their usual attacking options, although the embarrassment of riches here at the Cannons is such that you can't really complain with Pierce Waring on the bench, who would start for almost every other team in the competition. Quickly taken free kick from Nick Feely. Sense an air of nerves about the place. Oakleigh are not used to this. Not used to trailing at home against relegation battlers. Well, they could be safe in mid-table depending on how the other results go if this holds. St. Albans. Adis, Guest, and now Kasumovic across the box, and Michael Gergic threw a foot out and repelled the danger. Great defending from the captain. Meanwhile, Ollie Kubalay making this interception. Guest has got a runner on the left in Manib Adis, who takes it wide and dinks the cross into the box, but easy pickings for Marko Bulic. Well, they got lots of time, Oakleigh, but there's a bit of a pep in the step of St. Albans.
Look electric at the moment. The movement, the pep in the step is probably the best way to sum it up right now, because they just look like they have that little bit more energy every time they go forward, and Oakleigh look uncharacteristically lethargic, which is something you don't usually you know, if you're going to describe Oakleigh, I think that's one of the last words that you'd be putting alongside it, because they're usually the team that's doing the pressing. They're usually the aggressors, not the team that's being pegged back at their home ground. And right now, they're the ones on the back foot.
Reverse ball from Rikabene. Razimic was onside. Sovereign, who's moved out to right back in this second half. Nazari hooked it into the box, but not in danger of troubling Nick Feely, who hoofs it downfield and gives it straight back to his opposite number. Well, cross wires there between Nick Feely and Alex Salmon.
No movement on both dugouts as well just yet. Pierce Waring certainly someone to keep an eye on if he does come on, Josh, because you spoke about you could probably walk into most other starting 11s in the league.
Guest can't find a way past Gergic. Max King goes to ground. Howls of protest and appeal from the Dynamo players, and it's eventually heated. Ivan Razimic's beautiful chip has really set the cat amongst the pigeons here. Josh Diven with the equaliser before half-time, and St Albans Dynamo in a shock lead. Lovely touch from Wellsmore. On to Kasumovic, who tries one from the angle. My goodness me, that was ambitious.
Yeah, not a bad effort. I don't know if that was a bit of a misdirected cross in the end, but it almost caught Marko Bulic off guard, and goes to show what Kasumovic can do when he gets space down that right-hand side. He's looked good in little bits, Kasumovic, but just hasn't had that final product just yet.
Yet to really settle in Victoria. That was a little flash of his quality, and give him the benefit of the doubt, saying he intended to shoot from that position. Wellsmore, Kasumovic holding his width. Take on Mornek and take the ball inside and try another long-range effort. This time it's rather tame off the left boot. Mornek looking for Diven. It's going to be an Oakleigh ball.
Just having a look on that far side over there, Marko Bulic has already been given the heads up by the assistant coach just to slow things down a little bit when St Albans get the ball. So, I mean, we haven't even played an hour just yet, but already the word has gotten out to the St Albans goalkeeper to start just calming things down. Let's start taking the sting out of this game a little bit. I don't know if you'd want to be going into your shell too early against Oakleigh and inviting pressure. If you're St Albans, I think you've got to go for a third and really try to put this game away.
Guest. Oh, lovely ball from Guest. And a great covering challenge from Gergic. St Albans thought it was a goal kick. I think it's just a bit of overexcitement from Bulic, if anything.
Yep.
They're ahead. They want more goals.
Yep.
They want a counter-attack as quickly as possible. Guest's delivery, again, short of the near post. Kingsley Sinclair. Guest. And now Manibatis with the underlapping run. Again, his effort is blocked by Gergic. Little dink from Alex Salmon. And another. Keeping this ball live prospect for Oakleigh. They switch the point of attack here as you see signs of a change on the bench, perhaps.
Potentially a double change, Josh, for St Albans.
Raking switch. And that's Razimic on the far side. Cut back to Jacob Sovereign. Nazari wants it in field. Said Razimic goes to ground under the challenge of Noah Holmes. I just feel Oakleigh are missing a bit of control at the moment. Maybe Cam McGill might be someone that Chris Taylor can turn to. There might still be an injury cloud around him. Late addition to the team sheet.
So it looks like it's going to be Alan Guerres and Brian Summerskill coming on. I think it's going to be both Adam Hodor and Max King coming off for St Albans, based off just peeping over the fourth official shoulder.
Lovely ball from Rikabene, and Gergic slices a volley wide. He knows how good a chance that was. It could so easily have been 3 for Dinamo. Lovely free kick from Ricabene, and Michael Gergic had a golden chance.
Unmarked inside the box, and that is just lapse defending again there from Oakleigh, Josh. And they're so lucky they weren't made to pay there. Right now, this has been a complete 180 here at Jack Edwards Reserve, and very rare seeing Michael Gergic get on the score sheet. And God, he would have loved that if he was able to make it a 3-1 lead.
Well, when he does score, they tend to be pretty good goals. I remember an absolute banger he scored. I think it was last season at Gully.
Yes, there's something in that last name, bangers, isn't it?
His brother Ivan has netted a couple of spectacular goals over the last season or two for FC Bulleen Lions. And here comes that double change you mentioned, Nick.
Yeah, so Max King and Adam Hodor.
Relatively like for like. Maybe Nazari moves a little bit deeper to accommodate Summerskill.
These are two very good players to be bringing on at this point in the game. 2-1 up, and if you're looking to get another goal, bringing on someone with the quality of both Guerres and Brian Summerskill, I mean, this is really, really handy that St Albans have got these players available, because Guerres coming across from Green Gully, a very talented player. Brian Summerskill, of course, who's played for Moreland City, Heidelberg United, has forged a career over in the UK as well. He's a very, very crafty technician in the middle of the park, and he can pop up and get on the score sheet too. And he's been a bit of the good luck charm when he has scored this season. St Albans have gone on and won. So we'll see if he can maybe add another and continue that streak. But he's a player to watch in this final part of this game.
Sinclair to Adis. Kubalay prompting the run of Adis, and Gergic is alive to it. And he's taken out by Adis there, almost into the advertising hoardings.
See, it looks like we're getting a change here for Oakleigh as well.
And is that Hamish Miller getting ready?
Looks like they're making a defensive change.
Wow.
Which is odd.
That is very interesting.
Very odd substitution there from Chris Taylor, but we'll see if it bears fruit as the game wears on. Maybe there's an injury concern in defence. They have looked a little bit lapsed defensively though, Josh. Maybe they're just being a little bit more cautious and backing in what they have in front of the ball.
There's a head injury here for Josh Diven. Looks to be okay, but can never be too careful with those. Little clash of heads. Well, Hamish Miller is a trusted lieutenant of Chris Taylor. Been here a long time. He's stuck with him through various injury problems. Most used to seeing him pop up at fullback, so maybe you move a Wells more into midfield and
potentially.
Have to wait and see, or maybe it's a more natural defensive replacement for Kingsley Sinclair, who we know is an attacker by nature, but has been converted to left back this season. Cholina keeping the ball somehow as he is stumbling. Sinclair up against Razumich. Maybe it's that duel with Razumich that Chris Taylor's concerned about. We'll have to wait and see whose number comes up for Oakleigh. Could easily be an injury concern as well. Not aware of. Looks like Noah Holmes could be coming off, so maybe that is the move. Wells more into midfield.
There's potentially a double substitution here for Oakleigh, Josh, because I wonder if maybe they're looking at Pierce Waring as well. Actually, I think it is going to be Noah Holmes. I think it is only going to be the one change for now.
Oh, St Albans still plugging away. They can't wrestle possession back off Oakleigh. It's all looking a little bit disorganised out there for the Cannons. A little bit helter-skelter. So they look to refine their composure. Miller still going through his final preparations and run-throughs for his introduction.
Don't want to speak too soon, but Oakleigh have barely been able to put this St Albans defence under much pressure in this second half so far. So very good defensive setup here from Dinamo, not allowing the likes of Guest and co to really sort of impose their will on this contest.
Been extremely disciplined.
Looks like that they're basically playing the 2 lots of 4. It looks like even 4-5 behind the ball as well at times. And just leaving Diven as basically the last man.
Kubalay fires it into traffic. Rebound comes straight back to him. Kasumovic. Spaces are pretty tight. Guests. Lovely ball. Finding Alex Salmon, who's offside. Well, it was a lovely idea from Joe Guest. But Alex Salmon just the wrong side of the last defender. And well, they wanted a card in the first half for playing on after the referee's whistle.
When he gets it that time.
And, yep. Well, he was already warned, I assume. And Alex Salmon goes into the book in bizarre circumstances. So there comes that change for Noah Holmes coming off. Emlyn Wellsmore shifting into midfield. And Hamish Miller to fall back. And that tells me that they're not entirely satisfied with the fitness of Cam McGill.
Just looking here as well, Mooney Batis and Kasumovic have also swapped wings, so that might just be a little bit of an instruction to maybe try and get Adis isolated on that far side against Monek and use his speed to go up against him, because he's not been able to get going on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side. So we'll see if this move pays dividends as well.
Well, his runs have been just so well anticipated by Gergic as the second defender coming across the cover. Maybe they're just trying to get him away from Michael Gergic.
Yeah.
You're not going to move him over to left centre back with James Ricobene being a natural left footer.
Tell you what, you look at in this sort of battle of teams that are looking to stay up this season, Josh, having the experience of Gergic and Ricobene in there is so, so important, especially in these sort of games when you're playing against teams that have so much quality going forward. You look at a lot of those sides that are battling relegation this season, and that's easily the most experienced partnership of the lot. They have been there, they've done that. Ricobene has been part of a lot of successful teams as well. So, you know what, it's a good little thing they've got going down there at St Albans. And also Chris Dibb as well when he's back in the fold too.
Oh, Adis going down. Turns out he fouled Monek.
Feels like nothing Oakleigh can do right now is working. It just feels like everything is just hitting a brick wall after brick wall, and it's that frustration starting to seep in a little bit for the Cannons.
Well, you just don't want to give teams life, and it felt like they did that in the first half. They were so superior, effortlessly superior in the first 25 minutes, and Dinamo looked so demoralised, especially after the early goal. But now, they're puffing their chests out and standing proudly. Oakleigh on the attack. Kasumovic loses his dribble. Well, that's going to be a frustrating one for the Oakleigh bench. As Gergic digs out a clearance. Not the best of back passes from Sovereign, but it works out for Oakleigh.
It kind of feels like that little touch there from Kasumovic sums up the game for Oakleigh. It's been a game of almost in this second half, but just haven't been able to really make anything happen. And it's
been uncharacteristically untidy and sloppy passes.
Again, there
giveaways where you're not expecting it, and they're absolutely swarming Joe Guest every time he gets near the football. This is Razumich, the goal scorer in space. Loses out to Sinclair. Eliopoulos has to clear in a hurry. Too high for Guest. And Salmon, he's already on a booking. He's got to be careful.
I think he's in trouble here, Josh.
And Dinamo were adamant.
I thought he was in trouble there for a second, because that was a...
Quickly taken free kick from Gergic, and it floats off target. Well, that was a crafty one.
Well, firstly, Alex Salmon very lucky he didn't get sent off, because that was a needless challenge, and it was reckless in that instance, and that did meet the criteria for a second yellow. But Michael Gergic, if he'd scored that, what a way that would have been to set up a little bit of a buffer on the score sheet.
Very cheeky try from Michael Gergic. After he realised the second yellow wasn't coming out, he thought, well, my teammate's down injured, but the ref hasn't actually stopped the game. Physio hasn't come on. Why not just have a try?
Well, you know what? He saw Nick Feely was way off his line as well, because I think Feely was kind of setting things up and remonstrating a little bit. But then Feely always had to backpedal for a second.
Gee, Salmon was absolutely flying in there with the tackle. So was Summerskill. And the whistle had already gone.
Yeah, there's a lot of frustration at the moment here for the Oakleigh players.
And now Sovereign will be booked for playing on after the whistle. He didn't know the game had stopped. At least that's what he claims.
Tell you what, Pascalis Nidis is going to be very busy after this game filling out the paperwork. A lot of yellow cards in this game.
Gee. Well, no suspensions just yet, because the only players on 4 yellows are Joe Guest and Jacob Eliopoulos.
So it looks like we're getting a double change here for Oakleigh. Josh Pearce Waring and Luke Mensink coming on. So the youngster, who has been some great form for the 23s, has a chance here potentially this second half when he gets when he comes on in hopefully a couple of minutes.
Guest to the top of the box, headed away. Sinclair keeps his feet. Gets the return from Joe Guest. Sinclair skips past Summerskill, lays it off. Kasumovic deflected, and Marko Bulic, well, he would have been helpless there. He was flying to the other side of the goal. Instead, it's out for a corner, and it's a good block, but fine margins.
Just waiting for the net to bulge there. I thought that was going in from our position with that deflection.
Guest delivery onto the penalty spot. Misses everybody. Wellsmore. Back to Adis. Wellsmore's cross. Nice shape on it. Eliopoulos in there. It spills out to Kasumovic, but he can't get a strike away. Chested down by Guest. Salmon. Well, it was an artful flick to set himself for the shot, but really lacked the sort of connection he needed to beat Marko Bulic from that range. And now we await the double change.
Looks like it's going to be Mooney Bates. It's going to be one of those changes, Josh.
Well, it has been a frustrating evening for Munibatis. He hasn't been able to feast on the 1v1 duels and dribbles that he usually puts defenders on toast in this league, but not this evening. Kasumovic, desperate for a goal, strikes it. Kasumovic opens his Oakleigh account when the Cannons needed him most. Assad Kasumovic, spectacular, a bullet to beat Bulic at his near post.
That is a rocket from Kasumovic. They made that move, they got him onto the left-hand side, and that is a cracking goal there from Kasumovic to bring it level. Got that little bit of space, and finally something pays off here for the Cannons. They've been frustrated, they've been coming up against that brick wall time and time again. And that's a great goal. There's a reason why he was so highly rated back in South Australia, a reason why he was part of that Adelaide United Academy for so long, and the reason why Carl Viet even handed him a debut as well and gave him as many opportunities as he did. That is a great goal. Welcome to NPL Victoria, Assad Kasumovic.
And the substitutes have been sent to sit down now.
I feel sorry for him. It was funny because when Kasumovic scored, I was looking at Pearce Waring, and Pearce Waring immediately started walking back to the bench. Luke Mensink as well was like, do I go? Do I stay? You know? Well, you feel for him.
I have a feeling, Nick, that Assad Kasumovic was about to get dragged.
I think he was. I think he was.
I think he was about to be substituted, and the coaches went, oh, can't take him off.
He's on a heater now. Got to keep him on. Ride the hot hand. Well, him and Mooney Bates, I know definitely Mooney Bates was one of the names, but it does look like they're still going to make one of those changes. Pearce Waring's getting ready to come on now, so it does look like that he will get his chance now to go get a win, because now it's level. It's got to talk about the game itself. This game is certainly up for grabs right now.
Oh, I tell you what, they're subbing off Kasumovic anyway.
Oh, he's got one more chance. He's still on a heater, Josh.
Here goes Kasumovic from the angle, looking for Adis. And it flashes past the far post.
No, it's actually going to be Mooney Bates, I think. Yep, it's going to be Muni Batis.
The 11 is up. And that goes to show, Assad Kasumovic, he was about to get dragged because there was a 47 on that board a second ago, Nick.
Yeah, so maybe it was a quick changeover as well. Maybe that was the initial plan. But no, they've changed things, and Pierce Waring coming on, so quite a play to be bringing on for Muni Batis. Hasn't been his best game today. He's struggled a little bit to get involved. Probably one of his quieter games for Oakleigh this season, but what a play to bring on in Pierce Waring as they go and chase a win now.
Poor old Luke Mensig doesn't get his chance just yet. Kasumovic playing like a man possessed. Do you reckon he had a little glance over to the touchline and saw who was coming on and thought, odds on? Well, I need to do something here, otherwise my night's over.
Well, where he's situated is right next to the Oakleigh bench, so he would have maybe eavesdropped on some of those conversations and heard, okay, I could be coming off here. I need to do something spectacular. And what did he do? Well, he scored an absolute belter.
Well, we've been spoilt tonight. Thrilling NPL Victoria action. It's all square in anyone's game at 2-all. Salmon. That one's off Gergic. Oakleigh ball. Wellsmore goes back to Boyce. Eliopoulos. Heating up the ground in front of him. They let him run with the ball the centre half. Now Dynamo very deep. Kubalay. Everyone behind the ball for the visitors. It's been a huge test for Oakleigh tonight. Point would still be a massive, massive result for St Albans. But a long way to go here. Wellsmore thought about the shot. Laid off to Kubalay. Salmon dropping off the front line again. Finding Joe Guest, sliding in. Summerskill clears the danger. And now Josh Diven holding up the ball. And winning a well-deserved free kick there. He had to work hard for it.
Really liking the look of Josh Diven. Josh, he's looking very, very good out there. Very physical presence for a young player as well. And certainly not fazed by the matchup he has right now.
Well, that quickly taken free kick has been blocked by Joe Guest. But problem is, he was stationary. He didn't step in front of it. No. So amid the howls of protest for a retake and a yellow card, St Albans are giving the ball away. Gergic, and then Monik hacking away at clearance.
Michael Gergic has been there every time Alex Salmon receives the ball. He has been onto him like glue today.
He's going to follow him to the showers after the game. Michael Gergic, he's sticking to him like glue.
So it looks like another change for St Albans, Josh. And it looks like we're going to see Scott Bacall coming on. So attacking option here for St Albans in this last little bit.
Eliopoulos, Sinclair. Lovely passing combination, and Oakleigh have their swagger back all of a sudden. Kubalay, Wellsmore. Blocked by Monik. Whipped in by Waring. Joe Guest! What a save that is. If Marko Bulic got a piece of that with it, which I think he did.
He did. That is a brilliant stop from Marko Bulic to deny Joe Guest, the what could have been potentially the winner there for Oakleigh. That is a great ball into the area, and what a save from Bulic, getting down to his left and denying that one. He's had a really good game today, and he's been a really good signing for St Albans in general, and that is a massive stop in the context of this game.
Josh Diven sacrificed. It's striker for striker. Different profiles, of course.
Back from suspension, Scott Bacall, the Englishman. Bit of trivia, Josh. Another former Curzon Ashton player on the pitch right here. So him, Joe Guest, and, well, no Connor Hampson today, so we don't have the trio reuniting from, well, I don't know if they ever cross paths, but maybe they'd be aware of each other.
Well, I have it on good authority that hold that thought as Kasumovic bears down. on Sovereign. Bulic called into action to clear. Razimic tried to take it on the run.
Oh, it looks like
he's done something here.
And they've used all 3 windows, Josh. They've got no more outfielders actually available on the bench. The only player they've got is Jasper Karanovic at the moment.
I'm not sure Ivan Razimic can continue here. If it's just cramp.
A lot of pain, yeah.
But he'll try his best because they can't replace him. But I think he's pulled a calf.
Oh, no, he looks okay. Maybe it was just a little bit of a cramp there, Josh.
Well, maybe a false alarm. The way he went down, you really feared the worst.
I thought maybe he'd actually done something.
You saw the back of the leg going, you thought, surely not, but Razimic is going to try and run it off anyway. This game, the tempo has just risen since that Kasumovic thunderbolt. Speed of the Oakleigh passing and the combinations. Just amazing, the momentum swings we've had in this game and the confidence that comes with goals. It's just remarkable. Kasumovic to Sinclair. Gergic turns it away. Kubalay. A miscontrol there off the left boot. And an easy claim for Marko Bulic. What a stop that was a few minutes ago. Waring can't keep it. Scott Pecor is offside. See, barrels into the bodies in front of him. And Pascalis Natis will play on from that one. And Joe Guest feeds through Alex Salmon one-on-one, and he's denied. Marko Bulic.
What a save. That is bread and butter for Alex Salmon, and Marko Bulic coming off his line, making himself big. That is a huge stop. Once again.
Well, it was like a very fast-handed poker between those two. They were feinting this way and that. Salmon opened his body and gave him the eyes the other way, and Marko Bulic read him like a book. That is a brilliant, sprawling stop from the Dinamo goalkeeper. How long can they keep them out? Here comes Kasumovic. Checking inside Sovereign. Assad Kasumovic! Oh my goodness! What a way to announce yourself in NPL Victoria! He has turned the game on its head almost single-handedly. And Oakleigh lead once again.
Oh my word.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm lost for words, Josh. He's done it. I mean, we were talking before, just after he scored that first goal, where it looked like he was going to be taken off. We were talking about even earlier before that all was lacking was that little bit of final product. He was getting himself in such good positions. He got the first, but he was not going to make a mistake as well from the second. That is a perler. Oh, they've got to play here, Oakleigh. He's been almost the Ferrari in the garage for the first 2 months of the season, Josh. But, oh, my goodness. And what a way to potentially rescue what was looking like a potential defeat here for Oakleigh. That is a massive goal there from Kasumovic.
Oakleigh, make no mistake, they were desperate. They were down and out. They looked out of ideas until Assad Kasumovic burst on the scene with 2 of the most jaw-dropping, gobsmacking strikes you're likely to see.
We've been dealt 3 consecutive goals from both teams of just pure quality. I mean, the double from Kasumovic, the Ivan Razimic goal to start this second half. This is NPL Victoria, to quote our, welcome back NPL is the Teo Palazzeri quote, but this is NPL Victoria at its best. Oh, what a game. There's still plenty of time here, Josh. I mean, St. Albans far from out of this game, but God, that is an absolute sucker punch for Dinamo, who looked like they were finally going to get something here from Jack Edwards Reserve and finally end a 30-plus year drought of not being able to win away at Oakleigh, but winning it for the first time here at Jack Edwards Reserve looked like it was on its way. But what a turnaround it's been here from the Cannons. It just goes to show they're never out of a game. They are just so, so good.
Kasumovic is on his haunches.
I think maybe now it might be time to
I think it might be time for that sub. That sub was coming until he netted the equaliser. We saw the fourth official was bored.
Well, in the words of the great Michael Jordan, Josh, he saw the subs board and he took that personally because if that's what it's going to take every week to turn Assad Kasumovic Super Saiyan, then that's the way. That he has been brilliant in these last 20-odd minutes.
Salmon for Guest. Chipped over the top for Alex Salmon. The flag is up and he miscontrolled it anyway. Well, Alex Salmon is having an off night.
Yeah, and he's had a couple of those. I mean, only 30 seconds before that Kasumovic screamer. I mean, he missed that great one-on-one opportunity he had, so hasn't been his night at all, to say the least.
This is Alan Jerez for St Albans. Hemmed in the corner. Won by Hamish Miller.
Tell you what, you feel for Marko Bulic. He could do absolutely nothing about those two strikes, and he's been so good all day today.
Well, we talked about the substitution that wasn't made, Nick. But what about the substitution that was made? I mean, I think credit Chris Taylor. The eyebrows went up when we saw it was Hamish Miller stripping off of all players when you're down a goal. But moving Wellsmore into the middle of the park has given Oakleigh much more of a foothold in this contest, and Miller has been rock solid at right back.
Absolutely. I mean, barely spotted Alan Jerez since he's been on the pitch. He's done a really good job of curtailing his impact. And Emlyn Wellsmore, since he's come in central, he's given them a lot more drive coming out of midfield that perhaps Noah Holmes wasn't.
It's given away, and Pearce Waring. Oh, Bulic scrambling, nearly lost his footing.
Oh, a very nervous moment for Marko Bulic, who has been so good all game today. That would have been the last thing he would have wanted to see, the ball flying over his head there after a slip. It's been a bit of slipping and sliding here at Jack Edwards Reserve, I've noticed. Maybe a bit of a wet pitch. I think there was a bit of a downpour before the game.
It's also been a pitch that's had more use than usual, given we've had 2 abandoned fixtures and 2 replayed fixtures. So,
yeah, and I think as well the fact that they've just had this stretch of home games as well, Josh. I mean, they're going to be heading on the road finally after this, but
it's still a good deck. Don't get us wrong. But
it's one of the better ones in Victoria.
Just on the flanks, you can see it giving a little bit. Summer skill into Razimic. Nazari. Sovereign. Brought down by Wellsmore. Summerskill anxious to avoid the foul. It's intercepted by Sinclair anyway. And it's so hard when you're chasing the game in this situation. When as soon as Oakleigh win the ball, where's Joe Guest? Where's your runner on the flank? Where's Alex Salmon running off the shoulder?
Yep.
It's just devastating. They looked a shell of themselves, though, at the start of this second half.
Absolutely. They looked rattled, and that is such a rare thing for Oakleigh. I mean, once Razimic got that goal, it just seemed like Oakleigh looked like they were in 6s and 7s and really didn't know how to respond. But it's just been ever since they got that one opening through Kasumovic to bring the scores level, it's been, I wouldn't say completely one-way traffic, but they just look like they've refound their, pep in their step, and I guess the cannon's edge is probably the best way to put it, to quote Brad Scott. They've found their edge again, so it's been a good little patch here from Oakleigh to be able to restore this advantage. And it looks like we're finally going to see Luke Mensing coming on.
Well, there's a little historical wrinkle with Luke Mensing that we'll get into in a moment. Kasumovic beating Sovereign down the line. Kasumovic up against Gergic, tried to win the corner. Oh, and Wellsmore onto the loose ball. Wellsmore to the byline! And steered home by Guest. but it won't
It's
count.
up. Oh.
The ball had crossed the byline. Oh, what do you think of that, Nick? St Albans denied the quick restart there.
I think the ball wasn't stationary. I think it might have still been bouncing. I don't know. Look, there was a sea of bodies in the way, but I think that's why it wasn't paid, as in to let play continue. But maybe that ball was just running a little bit, or maybe it was still kind of bouncing when Buick put it on the deck.
Well, instead of trudging off frustrated to an early bath, Assad Kasumovic goes off to a hero's reception on the Oakleigh Cannons bench. What a turnaround. 2 strikes out of the top drawer. And Oakleigh have the lead off his boot. And on comes the youngster Luke Mensink. 6 goals in 8 games for the under-23s so far this season. He's getting his first team opportunities, and he's not afraid of a 50-50
Yeah.
by the looks of things.
I was going to say, he's a skinny kid, and I mean, for a second I felt a little bit worried going in that one-on-one there with Sovereign, but he held his own. So, I mean, Josh, you mentioned the numbers in the 23s have been great, and it's good to see that Chris Taylor's prepared to give some of these youngsters an opportunity. We haven't seen too many make the leap in recent years. I mean, one that really comes to mind is Anthony Pantasopoulos, who took that opportunity. We've seen guys like William Thomason in the past, but this is a real good opportunity for someone like Luke Mensink, especially if he can impress with players missing.
This is Waring down the line. Kabene cleans up. Nazari. Sovereign. Gergic. Razimic, very neatly done by Dinamo, but broken down there. Mensink with the challenge. Salmon around the corner. Gergic. Flicked on by Razimic. Can't get out of their own half at the moment, St Albans. That'll do nicely from Zelfi Nazari. Back to his goalkeeper. Kabene striding into space. Razimic clattering into the back of Kingsley Sinclair, and he doesn't look right. I think if they had another substitution window, Nick, Ivan Razimic would be off. He's really proppy now.
Well, unfortunately, they'd only had 5 on the bench before this game, Josh, so they actually don't have an outfielder even available. If they had a window, they'd have to bring Karanovic on.
Whipped in. Summerskill. Monek from the angle! Oh, deflected over. Gee. St Albans Dinamo almost with a late sting in the tail here.
Oh,
what a chance.
What a chance for Joseph Monek, and what, geez, talking about against the run of play. It was right there for him, but just wasn't able to get that one on target. Well, the shot in the end took a deflection, so, you know what, good opportunity still for St Albans from this set piece, but God, if they were able to pinch one there, that would have been huge.
Still could be on from the corners. Brian Summerskill stands over it. Gergic, an obvious aerial target. It's a short corner. Ooh, slice clearance from Miller. Nick Feely comes out and doesn't claim! And it's over the crossbar! Dinamo wanted a penalty. It was absolute chaos in the 18-yard box. Nick Feely was nowhere to be seen. And St Albans can't find the back of the net with the goal gaping. Unbelievable.
What was going on inside the 18-yard box? Because the St Albans bench are up in arms at the moment. They thought they should have had a penalty in there as well, I think.
And it's Ivan Razimic, the injured player, who the chance falls to. That's just rotten luck for Dinamo.
I'll tell you what, Josh, they have been great value to at least get something out of this game, and if they don't, they'll be absolutely kicking themselves because they have had the opportunities to do it. But they can take so much confidence out of this regardless, but they haven't given up the ghost just yet.
What a run this is from Monek. He's taken on the field and then lost his dribble at the last.
Oh, no.
Astonishing drama at Jack Edwards tonight. He dribbled past 4 players there, Nick. That's just incredible.
Oh, my goodness.
Sovereign heads down to Razumich. All he could do was go down and hope to win a free kick, and he's done just that. Mensink standing on the free kick and getting a lecture from Pascal Isnatis.
We think this might be it, Josh. Don't think there's too much longer left in stoppage time. Gergic is up.
Last roll of the dice for the visitors, who fought so valiantly tonight. Nick Feely will come to punch. Again, a nervy moment from the Cannons keeper. Sovereign knocks it forwards. Bakor. Half-hearted shout for a handball. Razumich with the volley. And he connected pretty sweetly. Just short of where it needed to be. Ivan Razumich with another opportunity. He's playing on one leg. And Oakleigh just need to see the clock out now. Wellsmore coughs it up to Sovereign. Still we go on. Monek. Oh, it's brilliant defending from Hamish Miller there, you have to say. Almost caught in a 2v1 and he positioned himself really smartly. Bene living dangerously with Guest bearing down. Intercepted by Miller. Mensink, the young substitute, will take it to the corner here. He's offside.
Hey, Craig, relax. No, come on, don't do that.
The words there with the fourth official on the Oakleigh bench. They weren't happy about that decision at all.
Emotions running high. Ivan Razumich with the header on. And again, Cholina wide, needs to get it in the box. Looping delivery, Summerskill on the goalkeeper, and the whistle goes against the Englishman. And that is full time, and it's heartbreak for Dinamo. They have fought and scrapped and clawed all night, and they have given the Oakleigh Cannons an almighty scare right up into the last kick of the game. But in the end, it's a curtain call for Assad Kasumovic with 2 goals of the highest quality to rescue a sinking Oakleigh Cannons outfit and deliver 3 points to the home side. What an incredible game. You got your money's worth tonight, Nick.
Oh, take a breath. Take a breath. What a game of football. Oakleigh looked dead and buried to start that second half after Razumich gave St Albans the lead. And what a goal it was. We thought probably at that point as well, you can't top it. That goal is the goal of the game. That is it there. A beautifully lofted chip over Nick Feely, but what a response from Oakleigh. And what a performance from Assad Kasumovic, getting a double, his first goals in Oakleigh colours. And we've heard a lot about his quality. We've seen his quality in the past at Adelaide United. And you know it, he's come from a great pipeline. And we saw it right there, a great moment for him. And it just goes to show the depth that Oakleigh have in this team. But God, did they have to survive. They really had to survive those last few minutes. St Albans threw everything. And I tell you what, they can take so much confidence out of this performance. It's been a difficult few weeks for them after that 6-0 loss against Heidelberg. It looked pretty ominous early when they went down. They lost last week against Altona, but this is a big result for them that they can take going into the remaining weeks of this season. They're 7 points clear of Moreland City on the table, who did lose also 3-2 tonight. But Oakleigh, by the way, Josh, right back in the hunt for the premiership once again, or really just for top 2, back to 3 points behind Heidelberg and into 4th. So good little spot for them to be in going into the rest of the weekend.
Well, Paul Donnelly, with his audition for the permanent head coaching role, and you've got to say, they don't emerge with any points tonight, but they emerge with so much credit from a swashbuckling display. One of the hardest away trips in the league, and they so nearly got something. Even when they went down 3-2, they really never gave up. They had one player playing on one leg, Ivan Razumich, who was as lion-hearted as anyone out there. And 2 big chances at the end go begging from Monek and Razumich. Well, Paul Donnelly has been the head coach at North Sunshine Eagles and Richmond. He's got first-team experience. Even replaced the young substitute Luke Mensing's uncle at Richmond back in the day.
That was the fun fact for those who waited right until the end. That was that right there. But, of course...
We'll see if he gets the nod on a full-time basis, but time for us to sign off, Nick.
Yeah, of course, plenty more action throughout the weekend, but for both these two teams up next, St Albans away, just a little bit more further down the road against Dandenong Thunder, while Oakleigh back on the road off to Knights Stadium to take on Melbourne Knights. But before that, Doherty Cup action for them on Monday against Westvale. So more minutes in the legs coming up for Oakleigh in a busy period of the season.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the action tonight. If you didn't enjoy that second half, I don't think NPL Victoria is for you. Absolutely spectacular entertainment, and it's been our great pleasure to bring it to you. The final score from Jack Edwards Reserve, Oakleigh Cannons 3, St Albans Saints 2.